series of Fox 8 investigations prompt the New Orleans City Council to take action, ending Lucky Dog's monopoly when it comes to the right to sell food from push carts in the French Quarter.
Our reports highlighted the struggles of other vendors who were shut out from the tourist area, but soon at least some will be able to sell in the historic part of the city.
For the first time in over 50 years, there will no longer be a monopoly of vending in the French Quarter.
The push started after our recent Starving the Competition investigative series, which highlighted a city ordinance from April of 1972. It prevented all but one company from getting a permit to sell food on the sidewalks and street corner of the French Quarter. The ordinance says the only way to obtain a permit to be a vendor that continuously operated the same business in the French Quarter for 8 or more years prior to January 1st, 1972. At that time, essentially only one company qualified: Lucky Dogs.
And it's been adopted. 5 yeas, no nays.
With today's unanimous vote, that ordinance is no longer in place, and 5 additional pushcart vendors who are already allowed to sell in other parts of the city will now be allowed to sell in the French Quarter as well. Several people spoke in favor of the change before the vote, saying allowing more vendors will allow entrepreneurs an opportunity to grow their business and encourage diversity.
Thank you, Brother King, or Councilman King, I'm sorry, for bringing this long overdue change to the quarter. Thank you very much. We need to open that economic opportunity to everyone and get away from this seemingly monopoly that Lucky Dog had.
Thank you, Council, and thank you, Representative King and your staff, for continuing the work to not only end historically unfair licensing and monopoly practices, but building a pathway towards equity for local small food and beverage vendors.
Councilman King says his push isn't over yet. At the next council meeting, he plans to ask for a vote on a measure to allow 14 additional businesses to legally vend in the French Quarter. He says all push carts will be subjected to the same rules regarding their operations to make the playing field fair.
We reached out to State Senator Kirk Talbot, whose family owns Lucky Dogs, for comment on today's decision. Talbot told us in a statement he voluntarily agreed to relinquish permits for 7 carts to have the city redistribute them as part of a lottery. Talbot went on to say, "We respect what they want to do. We're going to follow whatever ordinances they want to do."